let's get into the Cardinals more in depth, shall we? Obviously, a very difficult challenge ahead on Sunday, but the rest of the schedule, you go to Chicago, then you go to Philadelphia. Obviously, both of those games will be difficult for different reasons, of course, but difficult nonetheless. Then you finish up with the Seahawks at home, likely on January 7th. Let me give you a real general one here. What are your expectations of this football team for the final 4 games?
I feel extremely confident in those last 3 games.
You do?
Yeah. Probably when you think of the way they're playing, the Eagles are playing right now. You don't think? I mean, this team did beat the Cowboys when the Cowboys was hot, right? So I think they could beat the Eagles. I mean, obviously it's a road game; it's a little different.
Yeah.
Going to Chicago is a little different, right? It's going to be cold, but I think they have the ability to do it. They went into Pittsburgh in one, right?
Yeah,
rainy, sloppy game. Was able to win. I feel I feel based on the way this team fights and their ability to run the football when they commit to it, I think they have the talent and the ability to win those football games. Now, if the Eagles kind of make a change and get back to where they're at, that one's going to be a little harder. But they can beat Seattle, and they can definitely beat Chicago. And I think they can compete with Philly based on the way Philly's played the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well. So if somebody told me they would finish 2-2, and suddenly Kyler finishes 4-4.
Yeah, why not?
I could see that happening, no doubt about it. But I think so much of that conversation, so much of this conversation has got to do with Kyler Murray.
Correct.
And how he plays.
Right. And I think how they utilize him in the game plans that they come up to win these games. And so for me, it comes back to, Wolf's thing he was chomping at the bit for, I don't know how long Kyler been in the league now. 3 years. Feels like 6 years.
It does.
Right? The old and the new, and really mixing it in and not going heavy on one or the other, but having it fluid throughout the game as far as him being under center and in the gun. I think really him being under center really helps him, even though he may be uncomfortable. Some of the things that make us the most uncomfortable, think about this, right? Think about if you want to be an elite athlete. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. You think lifting 400 pounds or running gassers is comfortable?
Yeah.
No, but it makes you better, right?
Yep.
So as he does it more and more and more, the more comfortable he seems. I just go back to the very first game when he came out. Was that Atlanta he played?
It was Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yep.
And just the intentionality of being under the center, moving the pocket, waggles, boots, sprint outs, throwing back across the field, running the ball. It felt just really, felt natural to him. I didn't say, oh, man, he's uncomfortable. No, it just felt natural, playing to his attributes. The offense was efficient. And then for me, I thought they got away from that. Even in the Pittsburgh game, right, because it was raining and they were up, a lot of the under center stuff came late in the game. I want to see it from the beginning of the game, constantly, continually. Do it. It works. You don't have to prove. You don't have to make him something or do something because everybody else is doing it. Do what works for him if you truly believe and you want him to be a part of this team and moving forward. Grow under center, boot, and then when you have to get in the gun, you get in the gun and mix it in. But that under the center stuff, the way they run the ball, I think should be their bread and butter.
Yes.
They should be almost, I don't say Niner-ish, but that it should be a lot higher of him under the center.
Well, it gets James Conner going downhill in the running game as opposed to taking a hand up out of the shotgun where you got to start basically from scratch. And I'll tell you one thing, having the lead against the Steelers late, you see the strength of James Conner, right?
Yes.
Finishing off the game.
Right.
But having said that, Conner ran the ball really well against the Rams to start. And then they just went away from it. Now, the team will say it's because we were down. Well, you weren't down that much.
Not that quickly.
They didn't score a 21-point touchdown.
Right.
And they got away from the running game.
Right.
They can't do that. Also, it's going to keep that 49er offense off the field or any other offense off the field.
Yeah.
You feed the rock to James Conner. Good things can happen.
And sometimes, right, it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look sexy, but you're setting things up. You're building off of things, right? And you're wearing folks down. And that's what a lot of these great teams are able to do, right? You want to minimize the damage. Let me run the ball, boot, shot, right? You want to stretch the field. You want to do all these things, and then you jump in the shotgun out of nowhere, right? Second in mixed up downs, and they're thinking you're going to be under center, so they call a defense completely different.
Right.
And so you keep them off balance as far as what you're doing.
Yes.
So when you do these different formations, that is the biggest thing. Like when you see like some of the top coordinators, when you're moving under center, out of center, when you have the weapons, and I think the Cardinals have the personnel to move different guys, different places, and line them up and give them different formations. You throw the defense off. Like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And that little bit of indecision for Bosa, Chase Young, for Fred Warner, if you want to be able to beat these guys, you got to create a little bit of indecision. Because if you just line up against them, based on their talent level, they're going to beat you majority of the time. And so you have to do things schematically to give them some pause and allow James Conner to eat because he's the most effective player, and then boot off of that, and then you hit some of these things downfield and maybe attack their secondary, which probably is their least effective unit, especially with the safety being out now.
And we're talking about what we want to see over the last 4 games of the season from the Arizona Cardinals, and I still think there's a lot that can actually be accomplished, right? Kyler Murray is where I begin.
Right.
Kyler Murray's where I begin. I want to see him just continue in that offense that you just described. I want to see him continue to evolve his game and expand his game in that offense, and I think he's going to do that. Kyler Murray, I want to see him get better over the last 4 games. I want to see wins, as in plural. I want to see wins. Yeah, because I think they can. Somehow, 2 games, Seattle, Chicago, maybe they do walk into Philly and surprise Philly. You know, the 49er game, I just don't see that being a possibility in terms of a good percentage chance of winning that game, right? I just don't see that.
Right.
They're going to have to play perfect football.
Get a couple of turnovers, right?
And you know how that is. That's difficult to do. Having said that, it's not impossible. They can do it. It's not impossible, but I'd like to see wins, plural, over the last 4 games. If you could go 2-2, somehow, some way, I think that would be fantastic. And then finally, I want to see Trey McBride. I want to see Trey McBride. I love this kid. I love this kid. He cares about the game of football. I want to see him just continue to evolve as a true stud tight end as opposed to being a pass-catching tight end. And I want to see him get better over the last 4 games. The one thing that I do know, and you know this, Zoe, as well, Monty Ossenfort and JG, they're taking names.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're taking names the last 4 games.
You know, Zoe, you guys are former players. You know how many people are in their car right now going, no, do not win games. We want the best draft pick possible.
Well, that's a player and a GM, I'm not walking out. The game is too hard. So you can, as a fan, root against it. I get it at that point. But if I'm on that field, I'm trying to win every single game because, like I said, I had to drain my knee on Monday, right?
Yeah, no,
I got to do that type of stuff, and I want to lose because I want to bet on a kid that I know nothing about.
That's right.
Please.
Forget about it. He's going to come in and take your job? No.
Zoe, great job, Zoe. Appreciate it always. Really appreciate the insight and the knowledge, man.
Thank you, Zoe.
The hour flies by. All right. We're going to let Lorenzo Alexander get out of here.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.